This might sound odd to some of you younger viewers, but it used to be that textures and polygon counts were the two things people looked at the most when deciding what good graphics were. Just think of the 300 polygon Lara Croft, for example. She was as photorealistic as game characters got back then. But after a while, polygon counts were pushed to their limits and used as stepping stones for what the developers discovered was the true aspect of photorealism, the lighting. And we don't mean rendering character shadows in real time. That was never too difficult. The path to photorealism could only be paved by having every inch of the in-game environment react to natural lighting. This is where ambient occlusion comes in. So what exactly does ambient occlusion do? Well, to put it simply, it makes sure that lighting in the game looks more realistic by using geometry to calculate just how bright certain parts of the screen should be. Okay, maybe that wasn't putting it simply enough. Basically, it determines how much light should be blocked by certain parts of the environment, and the effects it has on the graphics are easy to spot from any picture comparison. Of course, there isn't just one way that developers can go about this, but the most common type of ambient occlusion is SSAO, or Screen Space Ambient Occlusion. Performance-wise, it's the least demanding of these types, although the actual quality improvements you'll see will vary from game to game and how well the developers can implement this. The next two types of ambient occlusion that we want to mention are HBAO, which is Horizon-Based Ambient Occlusion, and HDAO, or High Definition Ambient Occlusion. And the reason we pair them together is because these two technologies belong to NVIDIA and AMD respectively. They'll obviously work better on their company's GPUs, but in general they offer the same higher quality improvements at the price of higher performance demands. That said, they're not implemented in nearly as many games as SSAO is. And finally, we have the new VXAO, or Voxel Ambient Occlusion. This one was also developed by NVIDIA as a successor to HBAO, but it's quite demanding and only high-end GPUs can take full advantage of it at the moment. So in the end, should you use ambient occlusion? Is it worth the performance dip? The SSAO may have been too performance heavy back in 2007 when it was first used in Crysis, but modern graphics cards have evolved significantly since then, so it's very unlikely to cause any performance issues with newer GPUs. If anything, you'd be much better off turning down some of the more demanding video settings if you want to squeeze in as much extra performance out of the game than you'd be turning off ambient occlusion. Now if you're wondering which type you should use, the answer is just as simple. Always use the advanced types if they're available to you and your GPU can handle it. But even if none of the other types are available, or they're all just somehow incompatible with your GPU, you'll definitely want to turn on SSAO. The immersion it provides will be more than worth the minimal performance impact. And that's that! If you find this video helpful, make sure to let us know down in the comments. And if you're wondering what some of the other graphical options do, then you should definitely check out our videos on VSync and anti-aliasing. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.